Can you imagine your life where money is your friend, working with you to achieve all your dreams and desires? If you struggle seeing money as your friend, then join Kathy Cook Noble, financial advisor and educator on understanding how your money can work for you. It is possible. Now, here is Financially Speaking with Kathy Cook Noble.
Good afternoon and welcome to Financially Speaking on the Inspired Choices Network. I am your host, Kathy Cook Noble, and tonight it might look a little bit different than what you're used to, and that's because I have some very special guests at the show that I'm going to introduce in just a minute. I just wanted to let all my Canadian viewers know that this is a show that you're going to relate to really well, and introduce it to our American friends and our friends around the world, because they're in for a real treat as well. And like all nights, we come together on Mondays and we talk about different financial conversations and topics that people are having some confusion over, and maybe having some concerns over. And we take each topic, and honestly, all the topics from the show come from somebody, either a client that I have in my financial practice, or a family member, or somebody that has sent in and asked one of our staff or one of our clients or friends about a specific topic. And we take it and we break it down into plain language so that they can understand all their finances. And every once in a while, we get some special guests like we do tonight. And this is one where you are really going to want to download our app, because this is a show you're going to want to play over and over, I think. And I'll let you know in an hour, but we do have some pretty amazing app features, and it's completely free for Android and for iPhone. If you don't download it, you're not doing yourself a service, because it has all the hosts on it. You can join us live in the chat room. You can join us watching the television part of it live. You can watch it in play after on TV on over 250 podcasts and platforms that we have. It's really easy to navigate, and it's great to be able to plug into whichever show that you might need to have a little bit of inspiration from. And I encourage you can have it downloaded and on your phone on the first break. So there's a little bit of fun homework that you can do when we take our first break. But tonight we have, for the entire hour, a very, very cool guest. And this is the first time that I've actually had rock stars on my show. And for those of you in Canada, you know the band, the Tragically Hip. They are extremely popular. They were extremely high in the press all the time, where you always were seeing and hearing their music being played or on award ceremonies. And certainly no one will forget the final performance before the band completely wound up because of the illness with the lead singer, Gord Downie, who sadly passed away and lost his battle with cancer. But what has happened in Canada is there's just such a love for the band that there are tribute bands that had emerged. And one of the more popular and hard to book bands is the Hip 2. And I have two of the Hip 2 with me tonight.
What are the two?
And these two are right from the right off actually a concert last weekend. The Hip 2 is the ultimate live Tragically Hip experience. They bring the live concert feel to the hip. The hip, for those of you who aren't Canadian, is referring to the Tragically Hip, as that was their shortened version. The Hip 2 consists of 5 dedicated musicians and diehard Tragically Hip fans. The lead singer, Dave, he honors Gord Downie with his majestic voice, while Jeff, who's with me tonight, keeps the music alive on lead guitar. Bringing the sound to its full rocking splendor are Jay on bass and Jimmy on rhythm guitar. And on drums, who's also here with me tonight, the drummer is John. He keeps the beat going and pulls it all together to bring you the full Hip 2 experience. So they're not just great musicians, but I feel like they might have a career in comedy as well. So
I don't know about this one.
So I'm excited to welcome the two of the Hip 2 original tribute band for the Tragically Hip to the show tonight. So this is John and this is Jeff. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
So maybe we'll start with a little bit, because our Canadian audience knows who the Tragically Hip is. And our American audience, probably if they're Northern, they know a little bit. But maybe share with them a little bit about how you guys came to be part of the band and formulating the band. Because I know, Jeff, you do a lot of the administration part of the band.
Yes, yeah, I do handle a lot of that. It started a few years back. I was playing with a different Tragically Hip tribute. We were doing rib fests around Ontario, and we had a weekend where we didn't have a drummer. So I reached out to John here because I've played in bands with him before, and reluctantly dragged him out. There wasn't much time to get ready. He only had a couple days, and there wasn't going to be a rehearsal. So it was just know the song, step up and play, and did a great job. We went out there, had a great time, and we were sitting there eating ribs afterwards and thought, why don't we just do this for ourselves? And so when the summer wrapped up, we tracked down a few other guys, and through a few lineup changes through the years, we're the 5 strong we are now out there.
But we're in a good place now.
We are. We bring that, that real feel of the hip, really try to honor that memory of the hip and the music that they made.
And you mentioned it sort of just in passing there, but you guys were friends before and joined the band.
I've never really liked them,
but
no, we made amends when we formed the Hip, but we actually used to be childhood friends. Rode the bus together, went to public school, elementary school, all that together. And I was in a previous band, a Kiss band, and we needed a guitarist, so we put an ad out, and he actually laughed about it for a little bit and then thought, this actually might be pretty cool. So long story short, we met up with the other guys in the Kiss band, and we ended up knowing each other. And then we've turned our talents to the Tragically Hip. It's Canada's band. And if you're Canadian, Hip's your band. That's my thoughts anyway.
and you guys obviously were fans of the band before. The original Tragically Hip that we're talking about, that you guys emulate on your weekends and holidays.
For sure.
And everything else. Yeah.
Right?
And I'm assuming you saw them live?
Yep.
I only got to see them once. John saw them a lot more than that, but
yeah. I was very fortunate. August 8th, 2016, Tragically Hip were in London Gardens, or Budweiser Gardens, JLC Center, I don't know, whatever they call it. But anyways, we were in London. I actually got tickets, and I took my son to Dawson to his first and last, unfortunately, Hip concert. But phenomenal. I've seen them 5-6 times, and it's just awesome every time, so
such a different feel when you see them live versus hearing their studio music, where there's a real poetry that Gord would bring to the stage, right? And so much extra, right? He'd tell stories in the middle of songs, so songs would be 12-13 minutes long because he's telling you this amazing story, right? So we really try to bring that part into it so you can have that feel again, like you're at the concert.
So when you guys are putting your lineup together for your show, do you always keep in mind how the original Tragically Hip band would have played the song, or do you ever modify it a little bit to make it your own?
Definitely we modify it.
Yeah.
Because I think like Jeff was saying, when you're listening to the album version, it doesn't justify really the music itself. They're great songs. They got great beats. But when you get to see the live version, Gord the theatrics that he does, and they just all add their own different little spikes to it, and I think we're the same.
For sure, yeah. The Hip were lifelong friends. They grew up playing music together, and you could tell when you listen to them and see them on stage, they had that interaction with each other. So we try to have that, right? And bring something to the song that's ourselves, and the people feel that, right? It's not a total emulation as much as it is, we're trying to honor that music and make it our own in a way that the Hip would have done it, and in a way that we think they would actually enjoy it as well.
Sure. Very cool. Very cool. And what do you guys find? I know you said you had, and we'll talk a little bit about the music and your concert schedule, but when you went through a few lineup changes, did you find it now that you guys have had the same people for a little while, that your rhythm, where you're more of that friendship and like the original Hip is there, and you guys are able to play off each other?
I think with the crew we got now, we have a lot of that. We gel really good. I mean, anybody that was in the band previous, like nothing bad against them, they were great. we have a feel, where me and Jimmy just kind of jive
Like
off
an
each
energy,
other, and
yeah.
me and Sixer
For sure.
can flow and feel each other on solos, and his solos and my endings and stuff like that. So we really gel off each other, I think.
Well, I think the real piece was when Dave came in, right? He really brings that sound of Gord, right? That's the key element is sound, that sound, right? And he has this voice that just when you hear it, you're like, wow, is Gord Downie here? And that's what really took it to that next level.
Sure.
Yeah. And you guys have been, I know, pretty busy. You just had a concert, just a couple nights ago?
We've been going a little bit.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I know COVID's kind of slowed things down, but
we've been back and forth to Toronto a couple times. We're in Hamilton. We got New Year's coming up here in a few days.
And we did those wedding parties and some private parties. And
so you got a little bit of a break through the holidays.
Yeah.
And then you're back at it New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve in London's at Chuck's Roadhouse.
So that's London, Ontario.
Yep.
For our listeners, because our Canadian listeners probably know London, Ontario, but some of you that are not from Canada, it's not London, England. But maybe one day we'll get them over there. But they're at London, Ontario at Chuck's Roadhouse for New Year's Eve, and we'll share that a little bit more with you. So when you guys put your band together and you're putting your songs together, Jeff, you do a lot of the administration. Are you the main one that puts the lineup together for the music, or how do you guys decide?
As far as what songs we play? No, that's a lot of that's a band discussion, and a lot of that is left up to the singer, right? Because Dave's the one who's got to perform it and sing it, so we want to make sure it's songs he's comfortable with and that fit with him vocally, and so a lot of that comes from that. And then of course everybody's got their favorite songs, so we want to try to make sure we put that in. And when it comes to the hip, they have a lot of songs that everybody knew, and so you want to make sure you get all those in, right? And then from there, a sprinkling of B-sides that the diehards will be like, wow, I didn't expect to hear that. I appreciate that.
Nice. And do you guys do the same show each time that you go out, or do you have a way where you say, okay, for these couple shows in Toronto or Hamilton, we're going to do the set this way, and you do that, and then after that you change it up with different songs? Or how do you guys do that with each show?
Our set list hasn't changed drastically. It has changed over shows here and there. Maybe start with this song, this show, finish with this song. So we kind of play with our catalog. But in the gist of it lately, because we're just getting back out and getting, from the COVID, we've just kept the lineup pretty much similar, added a song here, added a song there, and just gone with it like that, just to get comfortable and get the rust off, right?
Nice. What we're going to take a break in a minute, but I want to ask Jeff because with administering a band, and because you do most of the bookings and
most of
so
the bookings,
forth, right?
The promotions,
so
social media.
Do you like that part of it, and do you find parts of it frustrating?
Very frustrating. Very frustrating. Yeah, I'm not a manager, right? So I want to just play the music. I don't want to have to deal with bookings and getting paid and all the work, right? It's a lot of time. It's not that I don't enjoy that. It's just I love the music, right? And it's hard in today's age. It's very different. Like years ago when you played, bars were full and they were just hiring entertainment for their bar and they pay you well. Now bars don't want to pay, right? You do a lot now where you have to charge a door cover to get paid, and the bar expects you to fill up their bar, which is very difficult, especially, we're from London. If we're up north somewhere, up in Toronto, we don't have huge friends up in that area that we can pull from. So it's a very different landscape than it was 15 years ago, right? So that's part of the frustration too. And a lot of calls, a lot of emails that just go unanswered while you wait for bars to get back to you and venues to get back to you. And so I would love a manager, right, to take some of that off my plate. As I'm sure my girlfriend would too, because it takes away from her as well. And she's amazing. I love my girlfriend. Put that out there so she can hear it. Thank you, baby. But yeah, definitely, it's a lot of work, right? It's hard to give up though now because it is kind of my baby.
And you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, I've been doing it for Hip now about 3 years.
Yeah.
So
we might have an opening for someone out there who's a manager in music.
Definitely, music manager, call me.
We're gonna take our first break of the night while you all look for a manager and download our app, because you're gonna want to be able to connect with these guys later. So don't go anywhere. You are listening to the Inspired Choices Network. This is Financially Speaking. I'm your host, Kathy Cook Noble, and I have the Hip 2 Tragically Hip tribute band with me for the whole night. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Too many of us get caught up in the unreal lives of reality television and complete to acquire stuff, which is setting us up to accumulate lots of debt. We're scared, confused, and don't know who to talk to. By tuning into Financially Speaking radio show with financial advisor and educator Kathy Cook Noble, you'll learn tips you can use to improve your financial health, which in turn can improve your overall health and make for a very happy life. Live a life you can afford and enjoy. It is possible. Listen for Financially Speaking radio show every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, and 1 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. This is the Financially Speaking Show with financial advisor and educator Kathy Cook Noble. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Kathy@bookkeepplus.ca. Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Financially Speaking on the Inspired Choices Network. I'm your host, Kathy Cook Noble, and tonight my very special guests are my first time rock band that I've ever had on the show, which is super cool to me because I've had some pretty great guests, and none of them have been rock stars like this. And 2 of the 5 members of the Hip 2 band are with me tonight: John, the drummer, and Jeff, the lead guitarist, and also the administration wing of the band, which we're going to try and get him out of. So if you are in any way inclined towards managing a band, these guys need one because they have gotten super busy. And 2021 was a very busy year for them as the world started to open back up and book bands and start to appreciate live music once again in person instead of on Zoom calls and in webinar settings. So the band has been super busy, and I know Jeff especially has been busy because he's in charge of all the administration of it. So they seriously are looking for a band. Don't feel free to reach out to me or reach out to them. And you can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Instagram. They're on Twitter, but they're really mostly on Facebook and Instagram. That's where Jeff spends most of his time, and the band spends most of their time. So look them up, like them, contact them. They have had a lot of people that have booked them for private events, either weddings or private parties, birthdays, so forth. So they're available for that. We'll keep Jeff super busy until we get him a manager. So reach out to him.
The hip2@outlook.com as well, if you just want to email us.
Perfect.
Managers out there.
Yes. So the hip2@outlook.com.
That's right.
Email them and connect with them if you want to. You're welcome to connect with them on hiring them for an event and also for applying for the job, I guess.
Yeah, Facebook, we're Hip2.
Hip2. So
you can do @Hip2 on Facebook, and Instagram is hip.2 to search us.
And that's TOO.
TOO, yes.
HIPTOO, Hip2. So it's @Hip2 on Facebook and .2 on Instagram.
You got it.
So find them, seek them out, and you will be glad you did. And it's a good financial move because it's a lot of fun to watch them in concert,
right.
and it's a lot of fun to really, I actually always think it's fun to have live music because it's pretty great. And I want to ask you about the live music because we talked about the different sound with the studio between the Tragically Hip band and your band as well, because you do a good job emulating their style. What happens, like live events, even like the show here is live, and you can have technical problems, you can have all kinds of things go on. Have you guys ever had anything happen in the live show that you're allowed to share?
Oh my gosh. So many problems. I started a show one time, and the first song we played, I hit my guitar for the first note and I broke 2 strings right on the first note of the first song.
Oh crap.
I've had pedals die. I had an amp blow up on stage once. I've seen drummers put their sticks through the skins. Cymbals break, patch cords go. I had one guy fall over my guitars and break one time. There's been a lot of technical difficulties, right? Lots of times you show up at the show and you plug all your cables in and cable doesn't work, so you always bring extra cables. At our last show, I had batteries die right near the end.
On the encore.
Yeah, we were playing a 2.5-hour show and my batteries just didn't quite make it. So I had to switch them out real quick while the guys carried on.
Oh my goodness. And as a drummer, have you ever dropped your sticks or
all the time?
Do you really?
All the time. I usually break about 2 sticks a show.
Oh,
so
okay.
I go through a set a night, and
they tend to fly at us.
They do tend to hit the singer and Jeff, potentially. I've
by accident or
sometimes. I've broke cymbals. I broke my bass drum in a warm up. So we're doing a quick sound check. And then my pedal came apart and I had no bass pedal. So, and I'm a lefty, so the struggles with being a lefty when your left foot pedal goes and you got to use your right one for the rest of the night. Yeah, it was hard, but we did all right. We made it through.
So what do you do in a case where your strings go? Like
keep playing.
You keep playing. Yeah.
Keep playing. The show must go on.
You get to the end of the song and you grab a new guitar and you get back
sticks
out
break,
there.
You keep playing. The strings
you grab
go,
another one as quick as you can.
Have you ever had anyone where they forgot the words?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had that. Yeah.
Because you do backup vocals too, right?
Not very often in this band.
No.
Okay. But many times through many bands, I've had lead singers turn to me and look at me. What's the first word?
Well, I still do that, right?
You'll still do that.
How's this song start? Bam. Oh, okay.
More the older we get too, right? Yeah. You don't remember as well the older you get.
Oh, that's good. So when because you guys can keep playing through and most people don't notice the miss note or anything like that.
No.
Especially if the drummer keeps the beat, right?
Yeah.
Because the drummer is kind of important to keep the beat going.
Well, there's only one drummer in the band.
Exactly, right?
There's a couple, guitarists, 3 guitarists in the band, and there's only one drummer.
Yeah.
That's because you can't stand more than one drummer.
It only takes so much of a drummer.
That's right. They're loud and obnoxious.
So what happens when you guys keep going and the singer forgets the words or sings the wrong song?
Keep going.
You keep going.
Do you follow him if he starts in a?
Yeah, you try to. Yeah. So you just you go with the flow, right? The one rule to live music is when you start the song, you don't stop, right? You go to the end no matter what happens. So if the singer goes off in the wrong direction, we all kind of look at each other, try to get back on track and follow them. If the drums fall off somewhere,
use another one.
Yeah.
Like figure it out, right? Break a string, don't use that one.
There's no such thing as a perfect live performance, right? Like even you go watch the Guns N' Roses and the Kisses, they have those things happen. The only difference is they have roadies that run out and quickly hand them a new guitar, right? Or quickly fix the pedal for them.
And we're looking for roadies if they want to do that too, right?
Absolutely.
This is why it's financially speaking, because we're going to employ people.
Yes.
We're going to get the band back to
this
live
is the
music.
road crew right
That's
now.
right. Yeah. In a truck with a rented U-Haul trailer, down the 401 we go.
Yeah.
Ready to rock and roll.
So how many shows would you guys comfortably be able to play where you don't feel burnt out in a month? Like, do you guys?
As many as you want to throw at us.
Yeah. Play every day.
I'd play every day if we could. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a little sore, but I mean it's a lot of fun. So it's just something we like to do, and it's something we enjoy doing. So the blisters are all worth it.
So for you guys, really, it's work because you get booked, you get paid, you have to certain things that have to get done. There's setup and everything else, but it's not really like work when you get up there on the stage and play. Is that
it is though, like it's exhausting.
It's tiring. It's not like work when you're on the stage, right?
Yeah.
That's the moment that all the work is built to, right?
Well, a little bit though. The drummer does a lot more movements, so I'm probably exerting more energy than everyone else on stage.
The drummer complains more than anyone. But it's all that work that led you to there, right? So the rehearsals maybe sometimes feel like work because you're playing that same part 16, 20, 25 times till you get it right. And you sometimes you get at each other's throat because you're like, why don't you just get this right? And, and where you're sitting there and you're creating all the advertisements and you're doing all the bookings, that's where it feels like work. But that's all gone when you get out on stage and there's 500 people in front of you and they're all singing along. It's no longer work. That's what you've worked for, right? That's the moment that you want to be in.
So how often would you guys rehearse then? You're pretty regular, right?
Well, depending on when we got shows. So if we're back-to-back weekends, we don't get a practice that week. And the more we gig, it's a practice anyways.
Right.
So sometimes you don't have to get together all the time. Usually though, we're once a week, maybe twice a week, depending. If we're not going to be, let's say, a month or a week and a half or a couple, 3 weeks before a gig, we'll get together and hammer out maybe 2 or 3 just real quick, just to get a little tight, and then we're good.
So when you guys are at your rehearsals, your work, like you say, it's work. Do you ever kind of veer off in any direction and do some kind of other music that maybe you didn't plan to do, or just you get a little bit?
John and I have this side project where we rap. We rap old school hip hop.
We're working on something new.
Music.
It's just shock your mind and wait to hear this one.
Keep your eye out for Snoop Dogg and Dre here, who are going to be coming at you with some crazy beats.
This is going to be, we cover it all on Financially Speaking. We'll employ the music lovers. We will expand the hip too. So they'll be adding to their repertoire of music of sorts.
Absolutely.
So that's cool. So when did you guys do that in your rehearsal then? Like, do you just go off and
sometimes
start playing around with that?
For sure. More towards the end usually, right? You try to you keep it pretty business-like, right? Because we all have families and lives, and so you get there, you want to start on time, and then near the end, absolutely, you're having fun with your buddies, right? So you just start to play some music, see what comes out, right? And depending on how many beers have been passed around, depends where the music goes sometimes.
Do you guys do any original songs, or do you do any writing of your own right now, other than the rapping that you're working on?
No, I'm in another band with a couple other guys. We do a bunch of all originals. But other than that, I mean, it's just we stick to the hip, and
I've written a lot of originals through the years, and some real music, some just kind of offensive campfire music, right?
Well, that's Blanket Apologies right there.
That's my campfire band. It's called Blanket Apology, and I always issue a blanket apology at the start of the night for anyone I may offend, and then I make up original songs in the key of Gin G.
Oh man, that's pretty good. So you guys out there that are, it's not just about the music when you're hearing the band talk. And I suspect that the Tragically Hip was similar in nature, where it was a lot about friendship and camaraderie and really getting together to enjoy the music that they write, because all their music was original music.
Oh, absolutely.
Wasn't it? So they're playing all of the Tragically Hip original music. So we're going to take our next break of the night. Don't go anywhere. We have the Hip 2. When we come back, we're going to get a little bit personal with them. We're going to ask them about how their family handles the travel and the schedule and all the things that go with it. They're here for the night. We're going to ask them, if you have questions, you're welcome to get a hold of them. Don't forget to reach out to them on Instagram at hip.2, that's TOO, or follow them on Facebook at the Hip 2. You'll find them there. And of course, you're always welcome to reach out to them and talk about booking them for concerts. And I'll share with you a little story of my own after the break. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Financially Speaking on the Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
Too many of us get caught up in the unreal lives of reality television and complete to acquire stuff, which is setting us up to accumulate lots of debt. We're scared, confused, and don't know who to talk to. By tuning into Financially Speaking radio show with financial advisor and educator Kathy Cook Noble, you'll learn tips you can use to improve your financial health, which in turn can improve your overall health and make for a very happy life. Live a life you can afford and enjoy. It is possible. Listen for Financially Speaking radio show every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, and 1 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Money is complicated, right? Actually, no, it's not. You don't have to be a trader on Wall Street to get a handle on your money. TV shows often instill fear to keep you believing you can't understand it or do anything yourself. If dealing with your finances brings up a lot of other F words, then you need to read All Ladies Should Use the F Word, A Guide to Loving Your Finances by Kathy Cook Noble. Kathy helps you take control of your finances and leave the other F word, fear, in the dust.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Financially Speaking Show with financial advisor and educator Kathy Cook Noble. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Kathy@bookkeepplus.ca. Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Financially Speaking on the Inspired Choices Network, and I'm your host, Kathy Cook Noble. And with me tonight are my very special guests. I have two of the band members from the Hip 2. They're a Tragically Hip tribute band, and I know I have no introduction needed to that band for my Canadian listeners, and for my listeners outside of Canada, the Tragically Hip is by far one of the most popular and well-known Canadian bands that we've had actually in the music industry. So we've been just talking to the band a little bit about, you know, how they handle their performances and their rehearsals and so forth. And we've had some questions in the chat room. And one of the questions, which is such a great question, is, has the band had any challenges with being at the bar? For example, any substance issues, and if there have been, how have you moved past it? How have you dealt with it? So have you guys ever had any issues?
Through the years, definitely. You know, we've had, there's people that just can't handle their booze, right? And so there's been people who've had too much to drink, people that got too into drugs, and I actually lost a friend of mine. He got too far into the pills, and he was a great drummer, but there was times we'd show up for band practice and he'd pawned his drums, and he had pots and pans set up in buckets because he had pawned his drums for drugs. And
Wow.
Yeah, he lost his battle to addiction about 5 years ago. He passed away. And so, yeah, I've seen quite a few people with a lot of issues, right? I used to drink a lot. I quit drinking. Well, I quit drinking about a couple of years ago now. I quit drinking on stage about 10 years ago because it's just too easy at a bar to get drunk, right? It really is. People like to buy you drinks and then you have drinks, and very quickly, before you know it, you've had 8, 9, 10 drinks. And
how many, like, we've had actual bar owners come up with shots while we're in the middle of playing a song and putting shots down. I mean, we've had to give them away to people. Here, have one. We can't drink that many, right? Like, you just can't perform like that.
It's always an issue. So as HIP 2, we kind of have a blanket apology. A blanket rule. We don't bring alcohol on stage anymore. Right, our stage is alcohol free, and that just ensures that when we're up there, it's the performance, and it keeps it professional.
Very good.
Right.
So I'm drinking water. I swear to God, I take a water up with me. We all do. That's all we drink on stage.
That's amazing. We talked a little bit before the break that I was going to ask you about your family and how this affects your family life and how your family feels about the travel and the schedule, frankly, because you've got the bookings and Jeff, especially you, because you have the behind the scenes stuff. Then you have the actual performances, you have the rehearsals, you have all the prep work for the rehearsals and the transportation. So how does the family life get affected?
Well, for me, I'm fortunate that my wife she loves the HIP as much as I do. And so she tries to actually come to every show. She works every other weekend. So depending on how we play, she couldn't make my last one. Making the next one, can't make the third one, making the fourth one,
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. It is what it is, but we go down there with the sole purpose of we're going down, we're performing, we want to give you the best live show, and we exert a lot of energy into our shows. And then afterwards we pack up and, depending on where we are, we got a 2, 3, 4 hour drive home. So, we might not get home till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. And we got to unpack a trailer, and it's a lot of work to get ready for a show, but it's also a lot of fun. And so I'm lucky that my wife can travel with me. We don't have any children. I mean, we both have our kids, but I mean, we don't have any young children, so it's easier for us, other than the dogs. But that's why I gotta call you to come bring them over and let them out for me, right? But no. For me, it's pretty easy. He's different.
Yeah, it's a little more challenging.
Yeah, you have different stages in life. So
absolutely. You have
the younger ones.
I have younger children. I have older and younger children. I have 3 beautiful girls and a 4th on the way. My girlfriend's amazing though, right? She loves that we do this, and she knows that I'm a musician, right? Like, I've never hid who I am from her. She knows I love the music. The music is what I want to do, and she supports that. And absolutely, there's times where it's like, okay, you're spending a little too much time, or do you have to? But at the end of the day, she supports me, and she knows, and she's amazing about it, right? She stays home and takes care of the children and makes sure that everything there is taken care of. So I do have the capability to go out and do this, and I can't thank her enough for what she does, right? Like, without her there to support me, I wouldn't be able to do it, right? It's just not possible.
Now, do you guys listen to the Tragically Hip when you're just around the house, or if you're cutting the grass, or?
Truthfully, no. When I'm in my truck, which is a lot, I have every HIP CD. I still use CDs. Okay, I don't have Bluetooth. I got an 03 Dodge with a CD player, but I got the big book, right? Everybody remembers that, the big book that holds 4 CDs. Well, I have every HIP CD, Gord Downie CD.
They're all coming back, aren't they? The vinyl and
they are. Yeah. That's why I kept mine.
Yeah.
So wish you kept yours. But no, we do. And me and Jeff, we work together too at the shop, and we do have a tendency to listen to some HIP, especially if we're getting ready for a show. We'll throw the ghetto blast. I mean, the Bluetooth.
That was an
speaker.
80s reference, wasn't it? Holy smokes.
The Bluetooth speaker now. But anyways, he'll put that on. He's got a collection on his phone because I got the collection in CDs. So he'll put that on, and we'll just kind of work away and listen and kind of strum it in our heads and kind of just, muscle memory.
We're both huge fans of the hip at the end of the day, right? Yeah. So we definitely listen to a lot of hip. Always have from right time we were young, right? It saw us through a lot of times, ups and downs, a lot of good trips, bad trips, right? Yeah. The hip were always there through everything.
What about the kids? Because you have younger kids, so are they listening to the hip now? Like you got a whole new generation, really.
Yeah.
That's introduced. Because I know yours are like he's 23.
23. So
yeah. He's already been to concerts and so on.
And Nicole's, her boy's 22.
Yeah.
So our boys are right there. Mm-hmm. They both like the hip. Dawson's gotten more into it because I think now that I'm doing it, and he wants to kind of learn how to play the drums because I think he sees how much fun it is upstage. And it is a lot of fun, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. So
my kids all enjoy it, right? Like they range 24, 14, 1.5, and 0 in utero still, yeah. And they've all enjoyed the hip, right? I raised them proper with good music, right? But the baby loves the hip. Is one of the few musics that will calm her down. Awesome. Grace too, she just loves that song, Courage, and I don't know why, because she doesn't understand words, right? But she feels that beat, and there's just something about it that'll stop her from crying and just calm her down, and then she'll start to dance.
There's a poetry to the hip.
There is,
like the Tragically Hip. Like Gord was an awesome. He just the poetry that came out of his mouth. As much as you listen to the hip, you will listen to it and you'll be like, oh, he said this. And then when you look at the words, you weren't even close. It sounds like it, but it wasn't even close. And I know that's for me because I'm not a singer. I'm just the drummer in the back. So I follow beats and I follow guitar riffs and I listen to certain spots where Gord goes off and I got to hit cymbals, right? But it's a lot of fun, I'll tell you. And Gord is just the words and the poetry that comes out, and it's just awesome. I absolutely love it.
So because this is Financially Speaking, and we do talk about finance on all the shows, because in my world everything relates back to the financial, and I don't mean that in a driven by money way, but it always, you have to have the money to be able to do things, right? And different people have different drive, and different people have different targets for what they want for money. So what happens with you guys? How do you handle any financial impact? Like if you have a breakage of guitar string.
Well, financially speaking, we don't make any money.
That's right. Financially speaking, don't quit your day jobs and become a musician. Long and McQuaid's has amazing financing parameters, so they're able to pay them every month for everything you want. But it is expensive, right? There is a lot of cost that goes with it, right? And
well, what's the old saying? You lug $10,000 worth of gear down the highway for 4 hours for a 2-hour gig that pays you $100. Like honestly,
I'm gonna have to talk to these guys about the financial side of this.
But it's something that even if I wasn't playing live, I would still be buying the gear, right? I'd still want that guitar, I'd still want that amp, because I'm still a guitar player, right? But now, I want this guitar because it's what Robbie Baker played in the Tragically Hip, right? So I got to buy that guitar instead of a different guitar. But for me, music is paid for all my instruments, right? I've been doing this since I was 19, so like 4 or 5 years now I've been doing this.
Almost. They're not that great with math, I think.
Maybe 24, 25 years I've been doing this, and it's never paid me well, but it's always paid for all my instruments, right? Even if I have to do it 1 month at a time, I eventually will pay off all the gear I own.
And for the record, if you're thinking about booking them and want to contact them, $100 isn't going to do it.
No.
That's why John's not in charge of the administration, and that's why they need a band. They need a manager for the band.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, $100.
$100 will
$125 though. We'll start to talk.
You might get the call with the band for that.
That's right.
So we're coming up to our final break for the night, and then we're gonna come back and wrap it up. I'm gonna try and.
I want us to wrap.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, maybe. We're gonna come back. We'll come back with our two members from the Hip 2, John the drummer and Jeff the lead guitar / ready to give up his job as manager.
That's right.
So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Financially Speaking on the Inspired Choices Network, and we will be right back.
Too many of us get caught up in the unreal lives of reality television and complete to acquire stuff, which is setting us up to accumulate lots of debt. We're scared, confused, and don't know who to talk to. By tuning into Financially Speaking radio show with financial advisor and educator Kathy Cook Noble, you'll learn tips you can use to improve your financial health, which in turn can improve your overall health and make for a very happy life. Live a life you can afford and enjoy. It is possible. Listen for Financially Speaking radio show every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, and 1 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Financially Speaking Show with financial advisor and educator Kathy Cook Noble. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Kathy@bookkeepplus.ca. Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. You are listening to Financially Speaking on the Inspired Choices Network. I am your host, Kathy Cook Noble, and my very special guests for the last hour have been the Hip 2, which is the Tragically Hip tribute band that is incredibly popular in Canada and throughout the country for sure, not just in Ontario. They've been very busy and very booked and are definitely booked for this coming New Year's, which is only a few days away. And if you want to connect with them, please reach out to them on Facebook at the Hip 2 and also on Instagram at hip.2. And also the email address is
hip2@outlook.com.
So reach out to Jeff either to apply for the job as the manager.
You're hired.
Or, which I think he will be a very easy interview.
Oh, absolutely.
And also if you want to talk to him about booking the band for any events or private parties, as they've been super busy and in high demand for that. So this coming New Year's.
And if they want to talk to the drummer about anything else,
right, that's you. Where I come right, that's the drummer. So anything non-business related is the drummer. Any non-financial is the drummer. So we have New Year's is coming up in just a few days. Like it's incredible. We've got the end of another year happening. And you guys are going to be playing live.
Sure.
And where are you playing?
Chuck's Roadhouse, 650 Richmond Road, London, Ontario.
And are there still some tickets available?
I think there is still a few available. You can get them online through eventbrite.ca or through Chuck's directly. I haven't checked the sales in the last day or two, but there's not many left, but definitely take a look. And if you're looking for something to do, see if there's some tickets and come on out for a great show and a good meal.
A great combo. You can come in for the show or you can buy the package and have the dinner plus the show. Okay. Chuck's is great food and you get great food and a great band.
Perfect. And it's the first New Year's in the last couple of years where people have had the opportunity to be out live and you're going to be masked up. That's okay. But you're going to be live and seeing live music again around real people instead of through the computers and all the technology. So it will be a really great event. So if anyone's looking for information, and I'm sure if we go on the Hip 2 on Facebook, we'll get some information there.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Look out for any of their social media and you'll be able to connect with them. So I'm going to share a tiny secret that you might not know. I'm actually related to one of the band members. And so this might be how I was able to talk them into it.
The one's not here. That's
right.
But we all actually work together in some capacity during the week sometimes. So we have, and this is where I'm just going on the record to put them on the spot because I'm hoping they won't say no on a live TV or live podcast. so John and I have part of the family business is our 95th anniversary next year. If you can believe it, 2022, we ring in a new year, and we ring in 95 years from a business that our grandfather started in 1927, which is like super cool. I help out sometimes, but John and Jeff actually are the ones full time that keep things rolling along. And they just call me for the administration. This is where I help Jeff with the administration.
That's right.
But, and we're looking at, and this is where I want you to keep your eyes open on their social media and everything, because I'm going to try and talk them into, when we have a big celebration, getting the band to play next summer in 2022.
Ooh.
So we will, you're all seeing it for the first time. So my attempt at trying, I'm clearly not going to make it as the manager, because I would just book it, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I don't know. You might be able to twist my arm.
If you have courage, we might be able to do it.
and I'll make sure there's food.
Oh, well, we're there then.
I know sometimes these guys can be
We're musicians.
convinced.
We don't make a lot of money. We need to eat.
Yeah,
right.
So they get to be a little bit convinced with food sometimes.
So you sprinkle the bills in front of us. We're okay. You sprinkle a little bit of food in front of us. That's okay too.
So it's exciting because it is such a Canadian icon band that they do quite justice to, actually. And as you all know, I am a finance person. I'm a numbers person. Music is not my forte, but I can certainly appreciate. I know it's hard to believe.
Don't let her fool you. I've seen her dance. Better Be Good to Me by Tina Turner. She's got her down pat. That's my next band. A Tina Turner cover. This is the singer.
Okay, you heard it here first. I heard it here first. But I've seen them in concert. I've seen them live in concert, and it is a real treat because they are exceptional performers, and they're as much fun as they are to have on the show tonight, which has been it took me a little bit to get them to come on the show. I didn't have as much pull as I thought, but I had to talk to Jeff.
Well, that's how anything happens.
I got to talk to Jeff. You want
right.
something done, you got to talk to Jeff. So it's been great having you guys on the show, and I really, really appreciate you.
Appreciate you having us.
And they're welcome to come back anytime.
Oh, I'll be back
tomorrow.
Tomorrow. We'll get them here. Maybe we can even get a little bit of a snip from the show or something. But it's been great to have them on the show, because our show here is really about understanding your place in life and how your finances fit into it. And if you want to be in a band and you want to be a rock star, you can do it. And you've planned for it financially. Like Jeff said, it costs money, and things happen where guitar strings break or drumsticks break, or the batteries go, or pedals need to be replaced, or whatever the case is. And that all costs money. And that's all money, like any business, where it's money put out first by the people who start it. So that's where there is some financial part of it. And you definitely want to be prepared, and you definitely want to plan for it. But you also have to do something you love. And that's these guys. You can see it when they're on the stage every single show, how much they love it and how talented they are. So please reach out to them. There are not a lot of tickets left. I've checked, and they actually might be pretty close to sold out. You only have a couple days to get out there and get your tickets. If you are in Ontario, or if you're going to be in Ontario, then check out Chuck's Roadhouse in London, Ontario, or check out the band on Facebook or Instagram, or you can email Jeff directly.
That's right.
So
Tip2@outlook.com.
We look forward to seeing them again, and we look forward to seeing all of you here on Financially Speaking, because we help with not just the hard math, because we don't believe in hard math. We believe in understanding your own position in life. And frankly, that's what the whole Inspired Choices Network stands for. So if there's something you need some support with, or you're having an issue with, and you just need a little bit of help or a little bit of guidance, there are many, many hosts with a lot of skills that are available on our network. And absolutely, the Inspired Choices Network show, which is hosted by Christine, our producer and our owner. There are all kinds of shows where she gives great advice. If you need help with relationships, with money, with finances, with just mindset or lifestyle coaching, then this is the platform for you. So download the app, join us every Monday on Financially Speaking, where we dissect another conversation of money and finances and help you make your life the very best it can possibly be. And we'll see you again next Monday on the very same network at the same time.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Financially Speaking Radio Show. Kathy Cook Noble will return next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, and 1 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by making the choices that bring you all that you desire.